Well, this one's definitely going to make it on the channel this time. Captain Paul from the locker room, bringing in Hayden from the Boston Bruins fan page on Facebook. That will be linked down below in the description. How you doing there, Hayden?
I'm good. How are you?
I mean, I can't complain. I can't complain. I mean, our fan base will complain, but I think
Uh,
I'm
I
pretty
can't even.
content.
I can't even.
So, let me ask you, because there's a lot to talk about with what's happened with the Bruins, with the offseason, with free agency and the draft. Overall, how have you felt about this offseason? How have you felt it has gone thus far?
I like picking up aardvark. That was a good
Mm,
thing. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean, free agency is what it is. As I posted, not every player wants to play here.
mm.
They could have made a great offer to Suter, and he just doesn't want to be here and put his family through. Because I know many families on here, they get private messages about their kids that play here.
Which
You
is
know,
wild.
which is garbage. So
Yeah.
I mean, people will defend it and be like, well, that's what they signed up for. No,
No, no, no. That's
not
no.
what they signed up for. They signed up to play hockey. They signed up to have a job in a good work environment.
It's you're gonna run into the crazies. The problem I have with the social media era, and I feel like this is actually one of the reasons why I feel like a lot of players, especially even Canadian players, don't want to play in Canada markets and Canadian
Well,
markets, is for that exact reason. It's a little bit in your face too much. Like, hey, listen, like, understand you're a passionate fan, you love your team, and rooting them for like decades and decades, but I'm still a human being on the other side of that. I don't need you stalking me, saying insulting things, messaging my family. That
yeah,
crosses a line. It just does.
absolutely. There is a line, and once it's crossed, you lose players because of that. And some
Yeah.
will come back and say, well, maybe it's management over the past couple of years. No, everybody that's left here for whatever reason or not has had glowing reviews about the management. So
I think the Bruins management they get flack, but I think probably the players. I mean, let's just kind of be honest. I think they're treated pretty damn fairly. I mean, maybe there's a malcontent here and there, but I think, like you said, most players speak positively about their experience here in Boston with the management, and uh, kind of kind of going into management. I kind of popped it up on screen by accident here, but let's kind of go into it.
okay.
Let's kind of talk about some of the free agent signings. Let me zoom this in a little bit so it's easier to see on Streamyard. So Tanner Janot, Sean Corrali, Michael Esimont, uh, Mate Bolmel. That's I definitely butchered the pronunciation there. And Alex Steves. These are the five here on NBC Sports Boston. Obviously, the Tanner one with the 5 years, $3.4 million per year. That's going to be the massive point of conversation because that is a lot of term to give to a guy that's going to be a bottom six player. Before I kind of get into my feelings on it, what did you think of that signing in particular, but overall about all the signings that happened?
It's exactly what they wanted to give Freddie.
Yeah,
It's actually less money than they wanted to give Freddie. So I don't understand the giant gripe about this. He's
yeah.
going to be more effective than Freddie. He's got more of an upside than Freddie. Yeah, and I'm not trashing Freddie. It is. We know I have a love hate relationship with the kid, but I hope he does great in Edmonton. If
Mm-hmm.
he survives the 8 years, I'll buy a jersey. But
He's not going to survive.
but I mean, that was a crazy contract to me.
Yeah, the trade Fred. I think 8 years. So this is the problem I also even have with the Tanner contract. I think when you start offering bottom six guys like an excessive amount of term, that like if the Janot trade, excuse me, deal was like 2 3 years, completely content with it. I just think once I know the cap's gonna go up, hypothetically keep rising, but once you start offering your bottom six guys like 5+ years, or even 4+, there's a chance that it could kind of bite you in the butt. But I mean, I would
If you
agree. Go ahead.
Yeah, but if you listen to Sweeney's explanation for it, it makes perfect sense.
I did
You may
watch
not,
that press conference.
may not
Yeah,
agree with it, but it makes sense.
yeah. It's I actually think that press conference, and we can actually definitely go into more in depth than that because I ended
Yep.
up watching that link you sent me. I think what he said about Tanner is I felt like was a little bit of an indictment on some of the leadership from the players that they currently have on the roster,
Mhm.
just being self starters and things of that nature. Uh,
Yep.
I'm kind of like I like Jano okay in that role, a third, fourth line. I just think you got to have the proper expectations, right? I think as a fighter and a tough guy, he's far more intimidating than Freddie. Frederick, like, I mean, his best attribute is that he's got a strong jaw and can keep getting the crap beaten out of him. But I think Jano, he's a pretty damn good fighter. I think he has the same amount of offensive ability. It just kind of it's going to find the right line combinations. I think as a player, I've kind of given myself a few days, really thought about it, even kind of looked into some film. I think he'll be fine. I think he's one of these players like Kastelik or Kastelik, however you pronounce that. I
Mhm.
keep forgetting. I loved him. I didn't necessarily love the return in that Olmark trade, but I loved Kastelik, like him on the Bruins. So I think him, Tanner, I even like Essimont bringing him in, but I think I'll like him as a player. They brought back Sean Corrali on the cheap,
Which is
1.85.
huge. That is huge.
They they brought in some players that are, I think, quality. And then the trade for Arvidsson from Edmonton. I mean, we
Yep.
saw it in the playoffs. I think the guy's got a shot. Is he going to be a 40 plus goals? No, no, no. But like, he's going to give you much needed secondary scoring depth that I felt the Bruins didn't have last year.
You know what? If Tanner Jeannot gives you 7 to 10 goals, 10 to 15 assists, it's a win.
100%. Yeah,
If he
100%. And yeah.
if he's 50, 18, 20 point guy, it's a win.
And this is my mistake because I was driving around today. I was listening to 98.5, the Sports Up with fellow. They were complaining about about that was my first mistake. That it's just something in the background of like listen to when you're driving.
Yeah.
But he was complaining, oh, like other teams would offer him like 1.5, 2 million. I think with what the Bruins currently are, let's just say that's the case, right? I do think they probably paid him more towards the high end of it. This team is not a championship contender, right? Let's not fool ourselves. You're going to have to pay a little bit to kind of bring people into Boston. I think Boston has a great legacy. I've been a Bruins fan my whole life, but just because me or you are passionate fans of this team, like it's a difficult market to play in, and sometimes you're going to have to pay some of these guys to kind of come back or come to your team. Um, I think Sean Corelli's also a guy who's got good foot speed, and he'll bring that hustle. I think he was a great as a fourth liner. Essimont, I actually like him as a player as well. And then Bulmel, is that how you pronounce his name? Do you know?
Yep. Yep.
So Bulmel, he had terrific AHL stats last year, right? So
Yeah.
maybe he turns into something. You don't know. You just don't know.
Steve's had great AHL numbers.
Mm.
Lamel was courted by Pasternak. He's the one that wanted him.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. And he talked him into coming here and because apparently he was offered better. But he chose to come here because of Pasternak's word. So
I mean, it's not. I mean, I think you're taking some low risk, high reward type deals. I'm fine with that. And I don't think they paid anything crazy. And I mean, the Arvidsson deal, some people are like, oh, that's like that's a lot of cap. I'm like, it's a 1 year left on his deal. Like, why the 4 million, whatever, right, for a fifth round pick? And we've talked about this before. Uh, Once you get past the first round, the percentage of making the NHL it goes down significantly. So you get a
yeah,
proven NHL player, NHL quality player, a guy that can be a quality third line guy, sometimes second line, but more slotted for the third line for a fifth rounder. I think that's just a no brainer in my opinion. They signed Jordan Harris, who was in Montreal, then went to Columbus. Didn't get a qualifying offer. He played for Northeastern. I kind of stated here in this article. He's an intriguing one, Harris, because he's still young. I thought Sweeney. People are dogging him. I thought he had a good off season. I thought a good free agency here.
I think it's
And
pretty good.
I'm not saying it's perfect. I mean, there's some things like I think maybe a little bit cheaper on that deal for Janelle and maybe less term. Just my personal opinion. I don't think it's perfect, but did anyone truly believe we were getting Mitch Marner? Or
I hope not.
like it's just that wasn't going to be in the cards, especially
I'm
with
surprised. I'm surprised Marner only got 12.
yeah, I was too. Reportedly he might have possibly been offered like 13 something and from the Maple Leafs and then or something of that nature. I don't know how true that is. But
Yet another guy that was run out of town because of people.
yeah, absolutely. So I think for me, it's not a perfect free agency. You don't really address a top six need, but to be honest, there wasn't much top six there. Like, what
No,
was it? Marner, and who really like really? You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't really a guy
top
out there
targets all
that.
got top targets all got extended, and
Yeah,
Marner got extended and traded. So
exactly.
that took the top five guys pretty much off the board. Now you get Ellers, which is probably going to end up back in Vancouver
Oh, you
if he
mean
hasn't showed.
Winnipeg Ehlers?
I mean Winnipeg. If he hasn't chosen yet, he's going back to Winnipeg.
Yeah, I think it would have to be like a really sweet offer for somebody, and the Bruins currently wouldn't have the cap to pull something off like that, anyways.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
if he's waiting this long, they got to be pretty close to something he likes.
yeah, 100%.
So I mean that's where he's probably going to end up. I'm surprised Robertson didn't get traded out of Dallas.
I am too, a little bit. I thought
But
that might have a move happened. I understand keeping him, but I mean, isn't he? What is he? I'm actually gonna kind of look right now. Robertson. Yeah, he's gonna be an RFA next year.
right,
So that's gonna
yeah,
be, and they're gonna be in some interesting situations.
he's going to be up in the $9 million range next year as long as he continues playing like he has been.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think off season for what it was, yeah, you don't get the superstar, but that superstar like or that top six winger wasn't available. Just wasn't out there.
And all these
And
people want to replace Bergeron and Krejci. They're generational people. They're not in everyday NHL. Every team's got one superstar, and typically they don't let them go.
no, no.
So,
I mean, the Marner thing's kind of unusual. Just the fact that a player like that usually you don't let go like that, right? And it's
well, I mean,
just
that goes to what I was saying. His family was getting harassed. He was getting harassed in public when he went out to dinner because he had a rough playoffs. He still scored 100 points during the season.
yeah.
You know,
And
Marchand struggled in the playoffs. Parstenak's struggled in the playoffs. Sometimes it just happens.
yeah, but I think the biggest problem I have, not to kind of make this completely about all fans, obviously, some fans need to be punched in the mouth. Like some fans just need to learn the hard way. Like, hey, like okay, there's gonna be consequences for your actions. Like we need a Milbury to go up into the stand to start beating somebody with a shoe in the street. Like that's what we need with some of these fans because it
Who is
gets
it?
a little excessive.
Is it Reeves that challenged to meet somebody if they thought they were so tough?
Yeah, and then of course they didn't take him up on that offer.
Yeah.
It's like
So
it's um kind of want to share a post here, the line post you asked me to share.
Dave Gimmelix.
So let me kind of
Dave is in our group, and he is one of the smarter people in our group. Typically, if I have questions, I go to Dave or Greg. So
this is kind of what he had to say. I see four lines. The top line, Geeky, Elias Lindholm, and Pasternak. I mean, it would make sense, obviously. He says it was great to see Lindholm find chemistry with Geeky and Pasternak at the end of the season. The under construction line, Zaka, Middlestat, and Arvidsson. Yeah, I could kind of see that working. If the season goes south, all three of these guys likely get traded at the deadline. If the season goes well, it could be because this line worked well. The speed line, Beecher, Corrali, and Konstantinov. I would actually love that line. That'd be a hustle line, honestly.
yep.
Corrali's known as a fast skater, but the other two are going to make him look slow. All three players can kill penalties, so this should be effective shutdown line, and the brute force line, and ignorance line. Estimont, Kastelik, and Kastelik, and Janot. You know, the only thing. So are we just kind of accepting the fact that Patra's just not going to be in the NHL next season? They're going to give him another season at the Providence Bruins?
Um, I've got to look at his contract. He might be, once you come up, you're stuck here. You can't go back again, type of thing without
Yeah.
waiver. I don't know where he lays. Um, I'm not dogging Patra by any means, but there were some things I saw and that I really liked, and some things I just didn't at all.
Yeah.
You know, he took a beating and he kept going, but he doesn't like contact, so he tends to pull up on the end boards, which he can't be doing. He tends to pull up in the corner.
Yep.
Um, he's rushing shots and not passing when he should. So all fixable things, but it's a he's got to be much like Beecher, shoot first mentality.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
I, I I don't know because it would be hard. I could. Who's on the right side on third?
on the third line on the right side.
Ushi.
He would have Kostianov. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see him getting bummed. And Beecher should be third line. He's not a fourth line guy. Never has been. Shouldn't be.
Well, I think Beecher's been. I don't know. I think he's been mismanaged. I think that his skill set, his speed, it should be utilized with more minutes. I'm not
And
saying he's the most off.
not on the fourth
Good.
line.
Exactly. I think he could be I think he'd be more effective, and I think you get him more engaged. I don't think he has high end offensive upside, but could he? I think be double digit goal guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. I mean,
I do.
I know he's maxed out at like 25 points at every level he's been in, but 25 points from a third line guy, I'd be okay with.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be a guy that scores 50, 60 points, just quality,
Right.
Out there killing penalties, using his speed. I think that would be I think that's a dynamic the Bruins desperately need personally. It would be nice.
I think Kustaninoff could. He plays very much like Kirill Kaprizov. Blah, blah, blah. So if he can just find his way and not grip the stick so hard, I think he could pop very quickly.
He's got the talent. Yeah, he definitely has the talent. You can see that. I think he's definitely got some good offensive upside to him. I think with some of these players, they hit the ground running, and some it takes time. It takes time to kind of figure out their game at the NHL level. I mean, Matthew Pacha, for example, is a guy I'll kind of even pop up here. Matthew Pacha, for example, if you really look at it, he's going to be an RFA next year.
Mm-hmm.
He's only 21 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He's 5'11", 181 pounds. I think if Matthew Pacha, and we've talked about this in our chats, right?
Yep.
I think it would do Matthew Pacha really well if he hit the weight room and added about 10 more pounds of muscle. I just think he gets knocked off the puck a little bit too easy. I think he's a little too weak. But he's got I think, decent patience with the puck. His game kind of reminded me of Gaethje in some aspects. I think he's a solid enough playmaker, but I agree with you. I think he does also need to shoot the puck more. I think
I mean,
he's in some prime situations. He throws it away.
yeah. I mean, the difference between him playing in the NHL and semi-dominating, it's night and day. It's a big leap between the AHL and NHL.
It is.
Some can do it seamlessly, some can do it and work their way into it, but it's a jump, and I think he shows up expecting to be able to do all the exact same things that he does in Providence. And these defensemen are a little bit smarter than some of the lesser guys in the AHL.
Yeah.
So
I would also argue, though, it didn't help the fact with the Bruins. They seem like Providence played a little bit different system than Boston, but I mean, what's that?
they did. They played a very, very different system.
So when I'm watching that, it's like I kind of it's hard for me to completely blame the prospects. I don't think they were necessarily put in the situation to succeed. But I think Matthew Poitras still has a chance. But I wouldn't mind, like, for example, kind of going back to what he's. I wouldn't mind this type of lineup. Like
No,
just see how it goes and let Pat. I think Patri's 21. Well, maybe a full season where he can kind of just develop away from the spotlight could be good for him. Um,
yeah, because
and
getting bumped up and down is mentally tolling on a kid.
mm,
Because even if it is, we want you to work on this, we want you to work on that. In his head, it may be, oh shit, I didn't do enough. I'm
yeah,
not good enough. So there's mental gymnastics a lot of these kids have to deal with.
did the Bruins sign Oliver Wallstrom?
No, they did not
Okay,
tender him an offer.
okay, that stinks because it was kind of a nice little story for him.
Yeah.
Um, but maybe I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he comes back at the AHL for some team. So hopefully he kind of pants out elsewhere. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think this wouldn't be a bad lineup. I don't think it's a Stanley Cup contender by any means, but let's just say
Get,
how it is.
get in the
Last season,
playoffs and figure it out.
yeah, I mean, last season there was just so many goddamn injuries, especially on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit concerned about Hampus going forward. I'm not too sure how well his body will hold up.
Uh,
Uh,
they said he's skating, he's doing fine, but I mean, that's what they're going to tell the media.
exactly. It's
So,
so I'm a little bit worried about that, but I mean, when he's healthy, he's effective enough when he's on top of his game. Charlie McAvoy, I still have some question marks about the defense. I'm not too sure about how I feel about Mason Lohrei kind of going forward. I
a
think
lot of
he's
it's, yeah, but a lot of it's also going to depend with, because apparently from the way Don was talking, he gave the system to Marco. It's your
mm.
system. You do what you want with it. So it all depends on who adapts to it. Because he
And
doesn't. He plays a very different system.
do you think that's why they target Arvidsson? Because he didn't he play under Sturm,
Yeah,
like when Sturm was a coach? Yeah.
yeah. He played in the minors, the AHL, and with the Kings.
So I think that would be. I'm hoping with Sturm, let it fly, let it roll, see how it goes. I'm hoping that some of these guys get a little bit more of an opportunity. And from what I saw from the presser for Sweeney, I some people mock it. Oh, now he's tough. I'm like, I think he's just realistic. I preferred kind of more of the direct, blunt honesty.
Mm-hmm.
And let's kind of. I mean, I'll even kind of ask this now because we'll bring it up. Do you think what he said in the presser about getting self starters and people getting dragged to work, and if they don't get dragged, that they're not going to play? Do you think kind of some of his comments about like needing help and leadership is an indictment on Pasternak and Charlie McAvoy?
I don't think it's an indictment on Pasternak just because of the way he stepped up after Marchand left.
Mm,
Um, and from what I understand, McAvoy's not a problem. Marchand, on the
mm,
other hand, I've heard some bad things about him. Not, I shouldn't say bad things, but some discouraging things about the way he treated younger play. We talked about this before, about the way he treated younger players, about him being aggravated when younger players were playing over vets
mm.
and stuff like that. I know he did a lot, way too much joking around at practice. That may have rubbed off.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
So,
I'm
so do you
not
think?
blaming him for everything,
Yeah.
but
Do you? I and this is good because obviously Marchand just had a spectacular offseason. He just got a
Mhm.
contract locked up for 6 years, which is whoa. Which people are still mad at my video for that one. I how do I put this? I think Marchand's better when he's just a complimentary guy and not the direct leader.
Yep.
I'm not too sure of him as a full fledged captain, and I'm not trying to blame him here or another. He was a great player here for a very long time, but I think Marchand just even his play, he's just better suited to be like a guy that's like maybe in the leadership group, but not like the guy. Like he can still be play his style of hockey and not feel like he has to maybe conduct himself in a captain type way. I don't know. I
Yeah, I
just
mean, you get players like Pasternak, McDavid, um, that handle being the guy very, very well. Then there's
mm,
other guys that think that they could be the guy and they just don't handle it well,
yeah,
and it's too much of a burden on them, but they won't admit it. And I'm not saying this is what happened. It just you see it every year with people. You know, guys move to a different team where they don't have to be the guy, and all of a sudden
yeah.
they're really good.
Do you?
So
Because was it you that told me that he was getting into it in Warrior practice, like when you went to Warrior Arena? Or no, actually no.
no.
So this I know one of the captains I've worked with before. He goes to all the Warrior practices. He lives right there in Boston. He said it kind of got awkward with some practices. I guess Brad Marchand and Chris Kelly would like be screaming at each other, getting into it,
Hmm.
which that happens. I mean, tempers fly. I just thought it was kind of time for Marchand. It was you got an asset, you got a first round pick for him eventually. Were you in the camp that you didn't want Marchand to come back, or did you want to see the Bruins bring him back in?
Depended on the money in the contract. I mean, the bottom line is the Bruins wanted to give him 3 years. Uh, the Bruins wanted 2 years. He wanted three. They came up and said, "Okay, fine, we'll give you three, but it's going to be this money." And he said, "Oh no, just trade me. I'd like to go here." And
Yeah,
what did they do? They made a suspect, semi-suspect deal and sent him where he
mm,
wanted to go.
yeah,
You know, well, yet to be seen where that draft pick lands.
right,
You know, trading for a first round is still trading for future consideration.
yeah.
Doesn't matter how you word it. You know, you don't know, especially if they go on a run again. You get the 28th to 32nd pick.
I well because it's what 2020. It's a 2027 draft pick, right? If I
Yeah.
remember correctly. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, they're still going to be a good team, I think, in a couple of years. So we'll kind of see. It probably will be in the 20s.
Yeah.
I
Um,
I just thought once you traded Marchand, and because I loved him as a Bruin, but I thought once you traded him, I was like, all right, like let's make a regime change here. Like let's kind of turn the page. Like let's not kick the tires. I think that 6 year deal and like what before I because I already made my video on it. What did you think about that 6 year deal? Like how Florida gave that
it's
to him?
it's $1 million a year plus bonuses.
Yeah,
Very similar to what they gave Krejci and Bergeron on the 1 year deals. So, but I see it working out 2.5 years or whatever because
yeah.
he's already had pretty close to double-digit surgeries over the past 3 years.
And I understand because I was looking at the signing bonuses and things of that nature, but the interesting thing is I thought like 6 years was just too much. Is like you're locking out till 43. We've already kind of seen a decrease in his athleticism. I'm not too
Mhm.
sure how many years he has left at the can. Like maybe a year or two. Like I
I give him
just
two. I give him two, 2.5.
yeah. I just and that was my main thing. It was like all right, like why are we gonna lock up you lock up Cap? But that's a different team. So, but
But then that'll be
happy for him to
sad.
get.
But that'll be sad seeing him deteriorate that much.
Yeah, I
You know,
mean
I'd rather not watch that personally because I do like Marchand. I didn't like some of the crap he pulled, but he was a true Bruin.
yeah,
You can't cut it up
yeah.
any other way. And to see him kind of fade into oblivion,
It was painful.
yeah, it
You
just
know,
kind of sucks. But that's just my
I think
opinion. He could play the 6 years and be fine. I don't know.
yeah. I mean
Unlikely,
that's
but
true.
possible.
So kind of switching back into Bruins here. Um, Draft class here. Obviously, the big thing that fell through is Hagens, seventh overall, uh, Boston College product, at 37 points in 37 games last season. What did you think about Hagens slipping to Boston and just about the pick overall?
It was confusing why he kept sliding. But yeah, I know he didn't have the greatest year last year.
Mm.
But after he got here and seeing his pressers and stuff and seeing his personality, and he'd cut his leg off to get on the ice. Um, he he put on like 18 pounds of muscle, which is
This is
very
always good.
encouraging. I mean, he
Yeah.
went from 178 to 190, however many pounds that is. So, I mean, that's very promising. From all accounts, he's still very smooth and handles the extra muscle very well.
I
So,
think Matthew.
which is always a concern. How can somebody carry the extra muscle?
It's true because when you change your body type and add more pounds, it's gonna change the dynamic of how you skate.
Yeah, I'm not.
It
I
can.
don't know if like Patra. I don't know if he's got the frame to carry an extra 10, 15 pounds.
He needs it though, in my opinion. um,
And did you see Hagen's legs? Holy
oh, like
Jesus!
tree trunks. That's
Oh my
well, that's the
God!
promising thing. That's the promising thing because so many people get fixated on it's got to be 6 foot plus, right?
Hmm.
You just need somebody that's gonna be strong down low in the lower body because that's the big thing. Like I mean, Martin St. Louis had like a Hall of Fame level career, and he was like what 5'7",
Right,
and just because the dude could squat a fucking truck,
right.
So it's if you're strong down low in your core, you can be effective. I really think that Hagens has all the ability here and upside for the Bruins and maybe hit a home run here. And I hope that's the case because he had a lot of hype around him. And I mean, a point per game in the NCAA, I mean, isn't that's a good fucking season. I mean, sure, it's not like what Celebrini or maybe when Bedard and juniors. Obviously, it's not the NCAA. Like, okay, I get that, but I think he shows the good offensive flashes, and because I watched a lot of BC Eagles games, because I'm a BC Eagles fan, a lot of teams keyed on Hagens, and he still
Hmm.
was effective. And
Yeah,
I think I think it will do good for him to go back to Boston College for another year and just develop. And Letourneau, I think Letourneau was a freshman last year as well, and he, you know, I
he's
think
got
some of
immense.
the
He's got immense pressure on him. He just had a bad year trying to figure out how to fit in. He'll be
he's
fine.
also he's also a big kid. I mean, that's gonna take time. It just
Yeah,
is. Like he's gonna have to learn how to play with that size. I think Letourneau could turn out to be a fine player. I think people like it's a bust, it's a bust, it's a bust. Like, have you even seen the games played? Have you even seen him
right,
play? Like, relax, just give it time. Like these are kids too, right? Like some kids develop it. Like everyone develops at different paces.
right.
So I like the Hagens pick, obviously. Um, Then they took Will
And
Moore, second round, 51st overall, another center, 6'2". So for those people that are really hard on for a 6 foot plus center, they got it.
well,
You know.
let's do some simple math here. The average NHL player around the league, on average, is 6'1", 199.
Yep.
So that means half the league is between 5'8" and 5'10", and the other
Yep.
half is 6 feet to 6'2",
Yeah.
with the occasional 6'4", 6'8" type of guy mixed in there.
Yeah.
So 5'10", 5'11" is not small.
No, it's not.
So all these people fixated on weight, sure. If you're 5'11" and 130 pounds, there's a problem.
Yeah.
But, 5'11", 178 pounds, that's
Yeah.
what I was for a long, long time. And I was not a pro player, but I'd handle my own on the ice.
Well, it's I think because the Bruins drafted like Will Moore, he's going to BC as well, so that'll be interesting. Um, Liam Pedersen, uh,
Eh.
6'2", 170 pounds. This was an interesting pick to me. Uh, you know, we'll see how he go. We'll see how he turns out. But he's got height to him at least, right?
Yeah.
Um,
He's
so
also like 17, something like that. 17 or
yeah,
18.
he's 18. He's a baby,
Still got a couple of
and
years of growth.
Cooper Simpson, third round, 6 foot left wing.
Know
He's
nothing
18
about him.
years old. He last team you played in high school, 49 goals, 34 assists, 83 points in 31 games. I mean, hey, I I'm not mad at that. See what happens. Let's see. One guy, I'm not trying to skip over. Vashik Blanar, 6 foot forward, 183 pounds, bigger kid, defense.
He is somebody to watch.
Yeah, that's a big boy.
Kirill. Hopefully you're pulling up
Yeah,
Kirill.
I
He's the
will.
guy.
Cole,
Sorry.
he's the guy that we can have a real good conversation. I'll speak.
Yeah.
Cole Chandler, 5th round center, another center, 6'2". Um, I think. Let's get into the one I think that the most interesting in the later round picks because we've talked about this before. 2nd to 7th round, I mean, it just starts dropping off what you can make. Kirill Yelma I'm gonna butcher the shit out of that one.
We'll just call him
Six
Kirill.
foot Kirill, 6 foot center, 31st ranked international skater. Last season, 13 goals, 11 assists, 24 points in 38 games played. So this is what I've heard personally from him, from because I looked into him a little bit more as I was just interested, like who the hell is this guy? Some scouts believe he would have gone higher if he played an international play, but obviously with what's going on with Russia, that hasn't happened. He plays on a very conservative team, and he didn't look lost. So I think he actually this could be like a sleeper pick here. I'm not saying a superstar, but he's got a sleeper pick here potential.
If he wasn't in Russia, he would have been the top 10 to 5 European players.
Yeah.
And he probably would have gone in the top 25 in the draft.
Yeah.
So, he's got talent. The kid can shoot. Like, there's no other. So, yeah. I mean, he's one if he develops correctly and they do what they should. I don't think he'll be a Pasternak, but he'll surprise people like Pasternak did. I mean, he was what, a 5th-round pick? 6th?
Well, I thought Poster was a 1st round.
I don't think so.
Maybe.
Maybe he was a really late 1st-rounder.
Draft.
That's
Let me
what I'm
just make sure.
confused with.
I think it was. Yeah, he was drafted 25th overall.
Okay, yeah, so he was a late pick.
Yeah, he was expected to go between 15th and 20th, and he slid down to 25. That's actually kind of funny.
Then it must have been Marchand that was like between 4th and 6th round.
Yeah, Brad. I think he was a 3rd round. I'm just trying to remember.
No, I'm way off. I know.
Yeah, he's 3rd round. Marchand was 3rd round, 71st overall.
Okay,
Bergeron.
Still.
Yeah.
Sure, my recollection's off, but still a 3rd round to get what you get out of him. Come on.
No, I mean, I think Kirill, if he develops, I think he'll be good. And I also think there's another player that we should talk about as Bruins fans is that guy we got from Edmonton last season. I think that
the defenseman.
Yeah, I think he
cut
also
on the last day of training camp because of an injury.
Yeah, I think he actually is a guy that can come in. Like I think there's some cautious optimism you can have about this Bruins team.
I'm not sure Peak survives till opening day. And I like Peak. Don't get me wrong. He's a good soldier. He does what you ask of him, but he might get surpassed by that kid from Edmonton because he was on the roster for opening night until he got an injury like 2 days before. So,
and I know some critics will say, well, Edmonton's not that good of a decor, but still, a kid young, I think he was like a 6th-round pick or something like that, 5th-round pick, and he's coming in and like competing for an NHL spot. That's like, that's some pretty damn good upside, honestly.
Yeah, he had work ethic. Everybody liked him. He played hard, played physical.
And then the Bruins also brought in Jordan Harris, and like I would see like if Peak has a market, I don't know how big it is. I wouldn't be surprised like you if he gets shipped out because I think he's effective enough, but I think there's also internal solutions on a cheaper cap hit that you could get around the same quality on defense.
2.37, something like that.
Yeah. You gain like maybe a mill and a half. Like, it's nothing crazy, but
Yeah. Well, I also
it's
see either Zach or Middlestat moving. So,
who would you want to see move, Middlestat or Zaka?
um,
The battle of the fucking disappointment.
um,
Because Zaka was injured last year, right? Or
and
something.
just
That's what some.
he started with a pretty significant stomach injury, like torn muscles in his ribs and everything.
So because Zaka the year before had a great year. I kind of want to give
Yeah.
him a pass for last year. I want to give a lot of the players a pass because it was a shit. I mean, with Montgomery and how things
Oh, it's a soap
started.
opera. Yeah,
Oh
it was
my
a soap
god,
opera.
it was too much drama. I I like Middlestat. I thought he would have been more in Buffalo and then more in Colorado. If he has value, I would just entertain dealing him personally. I don't know. I've never been Middlestat's never like really wowed me, you know.
I wouldn't
So
say he's wowed me. I was happy when they got him because I thought it might rejuvenate him a little bit. But he might just be one of those guys. He is what he is.
exactly, that's what I think
You
he
know,
is.
he's only as good as the team is at that point.
Yeah, I think he's a okay complementary piece to have, but he's not going to be like a guy that's dynamic and really changes things, you know.
No, I mean, all in all, I think I keep Zaka. If, he's got to hit the net more though.
That's the fucking story of his life, dude.
Yeah,
It's actually infuriating because he's got such a hard, good shot, but like we don't play soccer. It's not regular. You know what I mean? Like the nets are a certain size. If we had soccer nets, Pasta would lead the league in goals. But yeah, God, it's maddening because he's got such a good shot, but it just hit the goalie. Just at some point, just like aim for the goalie if you have to. Like at least get it on
yeah,
net. Um,
yep,
so I agree with that. I think with Zaka, he tries to be too fine with his aim, and because of that, he always just hits high, hits the back glass.
yeah,
So I would kind of keep Zaka because I think he's shown he can be productive. Middlestat, I think he is what he is. Essentially to me, he's just like a same cap hit as Charlie Coyle. It's just like you could want more from him, but I don't think you'll get
yeah.
it. Um,
I mean, everybody keeps saying we got to replace a center. We got to replace a center. You have to replace DeBrusque.
yeah, I agree. Agreed.
Oddly as that may sound. So I mean, there's a couple of holes. I think Lindholm started coming on. Saka started coming on. Middlestad had what 2.5 months, and he did
We'll
okay.
see. He did okay. He wasn't terrible, but it's just he is what he is. I think, and I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping next year he comes in, scores 100 goals. I don't care. Like, yeah, I'd love that. I'd prove me wrong, dude. But I think this roster kind of let's go into this predictions for next season. I don't think this roster is as bad as the seventh overall type pick with the potential to maybe get the second overall pick overall type bad.
No,
I think
no,
this past year there was a lot of injuries. There was a lot of shit that went wrong. There was like coaching drama, team bullshit. I
yeah.
think this team is at least a middle of the road type team. I think like a bubble playoff team.
I'll
I
say it again. You take the Montgomery situation out, and you take the injuries coming into camp, and then losing McAvoy.
yep.
This team would have made the playoffs.
Oh, and the Jeremy Swayman bullshit
And
too.
Swayman,
Yeah.
that needs to get fixed.
Yeah. So
And I think I like the whole Don Sweeney agreeing with Corpy, saying, "Yeah, you should have played more." So,
damn.
I mean, Sturm is not a guy to um, dictate playing time because of a contract. You earn your ice time with him, which is good.
Yeah.
However, if Swayman's struggling, it's going to be tough seeing 8.25 sitting on the bench for half the season.
Yeah.
So,
Well, okay. let's go there because the Bruins ended up signing DiPietro to a 2-year contract, right? And I think we're both. Was it 1 or 2?
You mean it wasn't Boosie, who
Yeah.
who everybody loved and should have gotten a huge contract and should have been the backup goalie? What?
Oh no, you know it's
You're
funny because like
crazy.
we both actually had to go out with people because like I saw DiPietro in person, you saw him in person. I just thought DiPietro was the better goaltender, like personally.
I said
I
it when
think
they
he
picked
had
him. I said it when they picked him up.
yeah, but it made
So,
sense though because people forget how good he was. Right, he played for Team Canada.
mhm.
Vancouver destroyed his development during the whole pandemic year. And he comes here in Boston and he just constantly showed improvement from the Maine Mariners up to Providence. He was good. He was very, very good. He was an all star. He was the best goalie in the AHL last season. I think personally, that's the type of guy you need to retain. And
Yeah,
I'm
and they
gonna
did.
sound crazy here. I wouldn't even care if they traded Jeremy Swayman to make space for him. I don't care. I think
Yeah,
DiPietro.
but then that's a complete rebuild at that point.
It is. It is, but like what I think is going to happen is Corpusello possibly gets moved, but he's going to have to go to a team desperate for goaltending, aka the Oilers, or there's some other team out there. I don't know. I don't know what you could get for Corpusello. Do you think DiPietro has a chance to make the NHL squad this season? Like do you think they'll
Yeah,
make a move to allow him to be up at the NHL level?
he can beat Corpy out
Yeah.
because you got to worry about Corpusalo getting all freaked out and bent out of shape halfway through the season if he doesn't think he's playing enough. Which
Yeah.
he did play better than Swayman at times and probably should have been in.
Yeah.
But corporate corporate coaches say, "Hey, we're paying this money. I don't want to get in trouble. I got to play him. We got to play him out of it." Sometimes sitting him out of it will fix things quicker than playing them out of it.
Yeah, and I do
So,
think I've given Swayman flack for last year a bit because I think a lot of it was kind of on him. Even though some of the not great defense in front of him, I think Swayman does have the potential to be an extremely good goaltender, all star level goaltender. But he's got to really fix some rebound control, his angling, his just his how he reads. Like there's
everything.
sometimes yeah, like there's sometimes he'll read plays great, like when he's locked in. He needs to be more consistent with his reads because he has the athleticism, but I feel like sometimes in spite of it, like he reacts too late, and he's
Yeah.
like, it's just I don't know if it's not paying attention because there's those games like we saw in the playoffs the other year where he's playing Toronto, he's playing out of his mind, right, just absolutely out of his mind, and then just for whatever reason, it's like a switch is flipped and he just can't you can no longer read the play. It's actually kind of maddening
Yeah.
to watch.
He puts way too much pressure on himself and doesn't play the game. At times, how do I explain it? You're supposed to play within the game. He tends to try to go out of the game by doing way too much instead of
Mm,
just keeping it simple, being technical, doing what you're supposed to do. He gets panicked. Yeah, some of the defense play last year, you get panicked, you get backed in. Fine. Will he rebound? I think so because it was a good learning lesson for him last year that, hey, you may not be as good as you think you are.
yeah.
You
And
know,
I actually, it could be a very good humbling experience where it made him just hungry in the off season. And
Mhm. Hey, he played great for
listen,
USA.
yeah, I mean, and the thing is, right? Shosturkin had a down year one year. Next year, Vesna. So
Yep.
I'm not saying that's guaranteed to happen. Goalies do have the occasional weird year. I mean, goalie's a weird position. Goaltenders can have that odd year where it's like, what the hell's going on? Can't stop a beach ball. And then the
Yep.
next year, they're like, they win a Vesna. So,
My sophomore year of high school, I lost one game. Junior high school, I lost 14 games. Senior year of high school, I lost 5 games.
up, up,
Yeah,
down.
it
Up.
just
Yeah, it's,
a couple of bad games can ruin you for a season.
yeah.
You know, and yeah, he's professional and he should be able to rebound. Think about how you react if you get a flat tire. You're pissed off for the next 2 days.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You
I
know,
get infuriated.
it happens.
It does. It does.
So
So I think we'll kind of wrap it up here. Is there anything else you kind of want to touch upon before we get out of here?
fan base, baby.
Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Let me get.
Yeah, I
Let me
already
get
said
the.
what I had to say.
No, no, no. You can't. Okay. Listen. I'll. You want me to go? Because I'll say it. Some of these people are a little fucking ridiculous.
Oh my
Just
god,
you know,
it's
it's
infuriating.
it's infuriating. I'm not gonna name names here. I really want to, but some of the stuff that I see posted, complaining about, we didn't get our 100-point scorer in the offseason. We suck. Fire Sweeney. Shoot Neely in the back of the head. Like it's crazy. It's just it's not going to happen overnight. Like you're not going to fix a team overnight, even through free agency. I mean, I think out of the rare occurrence, and I could look back at it, maybe I'm wrong, but like for the most part, right? Those teams that quote unquote win the free agency don't win the Stanley Cup generally, right?
Right.
Like because there's a lot to fixing a hockey team. It's not just getting the best player available, it's getting the best fit, getting the best guy in the room that's going to play a team game. That's what we want to, if we're going to talk about the Bruins, it's like some of these moves, yeah, maybe they're not the blockbuster move you want. Like one guy in the group wanted us to cheer Jeremy Swayman in a draft pick for Leon Draisaitl. I'm like, in what way does Edmonton trade Leon Draisaitl for a seventh overall pick and Jeremy Swayman?
Right.
Like, come on.
I would have
Like,
done
are you?
that in a heartbeat personally, but whatever.
I mean, yeah, for us. I mean, yeah, because
I mean, I mentioned it earlier. I'm in contact. We have family members in the group.
yeah,
99.9% of them are under pseudonym, fake names. Pseudonym's not the word I'm looking for, but I'm in regular contact with them just to run interference, make sure everything's going good. If I see some crappy comments about their kid or whatever, just say, hey, sorry about that. We'll take care of it, whatever. But like Julie Grislick, for example, last year, I talked to her on a daily basis because of the shit that was coming out. You
yeah,
know, people knew who she was because she was actually active for the most part. And she wasn't hiding behind anything, but she was getting private messages about how much he sucks
what the fuck?
and I hope he doesn't come back. Oh, can I have an autograph? And all this crap. You know, somehow or another they found her address and were sending things to her to have Matt sign so she could send them back.
What?
Oh yeah,
Oh my
it
god!
wasn't. Thankfully, it wasn't out of our group. That part happened. It was another group, and they doxed her and posted her address and stuff. But
What is wrong with people? What the?
it's
Okay,
it's actual things like that.
Jesus
You know,
Christ.
but then you get the flip side of it, where Andrew Ferens comes home from a game after getting suspended for flipping the league off, and there's dollar bills taped to his door because they want to pay the fine for him. You know, and his glove accidentally got stuck.
I remember that.
You know, so I mean, there's also the good side of it. But like, I talked to one of the parents today, and she's horrified at some of the things she reads about her kid.
Yeah, it's.
You can insult
I think.
somebody tactfully,
Yeah.
and or you can criticize somebody tactfully, but oh, he fucking sucks. They should just get fucking rid of him. He's a waste of skin. There's no need for that.
Well, I mean, but the problem is a lot of these people haven't been punched in the mouth before. Just
Mm-hmm.
being honest, like they hide behind the internet and they
Yep.
hide behind their personal accounts. They would never say that to the person's face, like, "Oh my god, huge fan, please sign this," and they'd be
Mm-hmm.
kissing their ass. It's just, listen, I've been critical of players on their play, right?
Yeah.
But and that's fine. That's fair game. Like they are professional athletes. You can criticize them for their pay. I mean, I'll say this. My father actually, like, he knew Rick DiPietro. Like he babysat him when he was a kid. So my dad we didn't kind of know that family. I mean, dude, some of the stuff that he went through is like kind of crazy. I'm like, just
Hmm.
relax. It's okay. It's okay. Like
Oh,
things don't work out sometimes.
they threatened to burn his house down.
It's just
So,
it's insanity, and I think as fans, you got to do better. You do.
yep.
Like, don't get crazy. Don't be insulting people. Like, listen, if he, oh man, that was a really shitty shift. Like, I can understand that, but like, if you're gonna DM the parents and the family members, like, you're going out of your way to try to tear down this person to their loved ones. I'm like, there's something like not like cuckoo. Like, no,
Yeah.
what's
I
wrong with
mean,
you?
I've said it to you before. I've said it to our group chat before. I've yet to say anything on the page on our page that I wouldn't say to somebody's face.
Yeah.
But yet, if I call somebody out on something, a number of times this has happened. Before we had the purge, you weren't around for the purge. The purge
I wasn't.
was a great few days. Um, we dumped like 200 people.
Oh, really?
Oh, within 2 or 3 days, yeah. Oh, yeah. Um, People forget that we have lists. We know who says what and who to watch, and we keep close eyes on certain people. And sometimes they just miraculously can't get onto the page. I don't know.
Uh oh. Uh oh. I mean, listen,
But
yeah.
it, I, I would get death threats. I would have people email message my wife. That's why I go under a false name because they find my profile and go after my family. Um, Scott, one of the lead admins, they trashed his business. Like would call and he's a construction guy. He owns a construction company. They call and make um, appointments for quotes and stuff. And they'd show up, knock on the door, and the person would be like, "I don't know what the hell you're talking about."
What,
You know?
dude? Yeah, that's just weird.
Yeah.
That's weird.
So that's all because we banned gambling on the site on our page.
You know what? You know what's funny, and this is kind of a little bit off topic, but we'll kind of end it on this. Is that, like, for example, I've had gambling companies like reach out to me a lot. I
Hmm.
refuse to take a cent from them. I just do, and I've been offered like up to 5 grand just to like have a few videos out with like a sponsorship. Um,
No,
it
this was more during the pandemic. Yeah, it was during the pandemic,
mm,
and they started having Xbox tournaments, but then they
yeah,
started advertising them for join for $20, winner takes all, and we put a stop to that, and that's what people
yeah.
got mad at.
I mean, but it's not an Xbox thing.
You
It's not
know,
like
right? I
it's
mean,
that's
I don't have a pro. I'm a big fan of DraftKings, as you know. I have no problem
yeah.
with that. Um, if I own the page, I don't know what I do if they offer me 5 grand just to put a logo up and say a couple of things. So kudos to
It's
you for standing your ground.
it's just, and I'll say this for more of a personal note. I've seen like family destroyed by it, so it's just kind of like it's a moral thing with me. I don't like how it's. I think it's perfectly fine if you're an adult. You have the absolutely do what you want to do, right? You're a grown adult. You make your own decisions. I just get a little bit uncomfortable with like, especially with content I make when I know a younger audience can kind of watch it
Hmm.
about constantly pushing that on kids. It's just it's a weird thing, and then but you could argue, oh well, they're gonna see this stuff anyways. It's I don't know. I just don't want to partake in it. That's all. You know.
My dad lost our childhood home from gambling, so I'm well aware how that goes.
Yeah. It's just.
So,
But if you're an adult, go ahead though. But I think this was actually a good conversation. We should definitely try to do more of these. And I'm a little bit I'm optimistic for the Bruins. I think they can be a bubble playoff team this year, and I just hope they take their time with some of these prospects. That's all. Like don't try to rush them. Like let them
I,
develop.
I believe if healthy, they're even with the same lineup, which they don't have now, obviously, they're a much better team. Um, I like Dave Gimlick's lineup. Unfortunately, I see Beecher bouncing in and out.
I agree. Yeah, I could see that.
Um, there's some stuff in the works that I know are in the works that a couple of guys aren't going to be here for opening day.
Yeah,
They may not be here for camp um, to open up space or to improve.
yeah,
So we'll see how that pans out. But they can talk to whoever. Like I said, they guaranteed they made a call on Suter, and he decided to go wherever he went. I forget
Yeah.
where he went today. But, it's not everybody wants to be here. And if you don't want to be here, go, leave.
Yeah,
Whatever.
exactly. I mean,
So, but yeah, this is a good conversation. I like the laid back format.
yeah, me too, man. Absolutely. Kind of makes it fun. I'll try to get this up, and all I'm going to do is just download this and then upload it. That's pretty much it. Um, Down below in the comments section, let us know your thoughts about the Bruins offseason. Did you hate it? Did you love it? What did you think about the signings? What did you think about the draft picks? And let us know. I mean, heck, throw some questions down there. I mean, maybe we could do something like this weekly or maybe a little bit more frequently than that. Maybe do some live stream as well. Just let us know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Hayden, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it, man. You know, we always have good conversations.
Yep. We have to meet up at Conrad soon, though.
Absolutely. I mean, shoot, I got some free time now, so we should definitely do that soon.
That's the rumor I heard.
That's the rumor part. But all right, everyone, you take it easy, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you later, guys.